internet, cell phones, social media, and now the rapid increase in artificial intelligence technology. So, question is, how do we maintain that human connection in such a digital world? Well, here to help us is Renée Marino. She's the author of the new book, Becoming a Master Communicator, Balancing New School Technology with Old School Simplicity. And to that I say amen and welcome, Renée.
Thank you, Marissa. I'm so happy to be here.
Yes, it's good to have you. Of course, you're a personality, but also a film star, Broadway star. So I think you know a thing or two about connecting. I'm
just a little bit.
But this is your book, and I read it, and what I love about it, I think when a lot of people think master communicator, they think only in a professional setting.
No.
You're talking about you can use these tips in all of your relationships and interactions.
Yes, it's about human connection. As you just said, AI is starting to take over the world, but we must realize that artificial intelligence is not emotional intelligence or human intelligence. So we must prioritize making these genuine connections through communication.
And you've broken down a 7-step connect method.
Yes.
So let us know how it works.
Yes. Step 1, Marissa, is the C, communication with self. Understanding that that sets the foundation for all of your external communication. Step 2, owning who you are. It just feels good to say. Yes. Ooh.
Preach.
Yes, girlfriend. Be the same you who shows up on social media, in your emails and texts, the same you who shows up in your neighborhood or in an interview like this. Step 3, nail down your information. You know this as a journalist. Before you enter any conversation, take the time to gather some information, some facts about that person or people, right? It creates a connection point.
Confrontation in the communication. People do this all the time with text messages, right? You go off of what you thought somebody meant or what you assume without actually asking the question.
Yes. How many times have disagreements happened because people didn't take the time out to read a text and then pick up the phone and say, just making sure this is what you meant, instead of texting back from a place of assuming you knew.
So you know what happens when you assume.
Oh, we know. We can't say that.
Right.
Yep. After we nail down our information, we want to lean into next level storytelling, sharing our stories in a vulnerable and authentic way that creates those real connections. Then the E of the connect method, my favorite, energize through movement. Research shows a direct connection between movement and improved cognitive performance. So if you want to focus and listen in a real way in your conversations, you got to move your body first. Which brings us to the C, complete listening. Listening to hear and not just to respond. You know it. And understanding that when we listen in this way, it's a two-way gift. We give the person speaking an open platform to be heard, and we ourselves gain the gift of learning something new, gaining a new perspective, or what I think is most beautiful, realizing we are more alike than we are different. And then the last step, talk from the heart. Understand it's not about perfection. It's about connection. And remember this, everybody. AI doesn't have heart. That's the one thing we have as humans that AI can never replace.
It doesn't have a heart and it doesn't have a soul.
No.
And you have to stick with yourself and sit with yourself, and you dedicated a chapter to that in the book, where you talk about the distractions that we have. Is so easy just to get caught up in the scrolling or even your AI apps, as opposed to really reflecting upon your feelings, your desires, even your own communication style. We don't do that enough.
Yes, Marissa, you said that so beautifully.
I read your book. I did my homework.
I love it. Yes, that relationship with ourselves is most important. So we figure out who we are at our core. What do we like? What are we afraid of? What do we want to work toward? And then when we know ourselves on that real, beautiful level, then we can create those real connections with others.
Yeah, you can show up as your authentic self too, which is also in the book. So thank you, Renée, so much for joining us. I know this is your first book. Hopefully it won't be your last, but I think it's very, very helpful, again, for all modes of communication.
Thank you so much, Marissa.
Yeah, you're appreciated. All right, well, coming up, we're going to have more on Good Day DC, even though Renée Marino was excellent. We're going to keep it going. Still ahead, a teacher's tips on how to conquer